Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our third Thursday lecture series. Here is this month's speaker, Seth Bisen-Hersh, who hosts the weekly cabaret show at Don't Tell Mama, Seth's Talent Showcase. He has also written Sleep Right Now, based on his own experience with a very difficult year in his life and his efforts to recover from it. And so here he is, composer of Love, Quirks, and Other Musicals, among many other talents, Seth Bisen-Hersh.
It's actually Bisen-Hersh, but that's okay, just for the record. I don't know who's watching, but hi everyone at home. It's just going to be us later watching at home, and by us I mean my cat. I'll put it on for him, but I won't be watching because my DVR is too full. I have way too much to watch. It's actually up to 90%, which is like crazy, but it's okay because it's a BIOS and it's a quantum DVR, so I can hold 450 hours. So it's okay, but actually only 150 in HD, but it's alright, I gotta watch TV, so I'll talk faster. It's so weird, I'm just gonna pretend I'm hearing 20 other people laughing in my head, and then that's how I'll know if the jokes are landing. Sure. But that's okay. So I brought my book, as they said, it's Sleep Right Now, and I thought that I would read a little bit from the book. That made the most sense. So I'm gonna read the prologue, and then I'm gonna read chapter 6, because that's when I stopped sleeping. Is that someone? Is someone here?
Probably, but go ahead.
That's amazing. Well, we can stall for them to come up.
Well, it might not be. So
Oh, that's true. And I also brought, so the book is stream of consciousness journal type thing that follows me through the whole year where I stopped sleeping because of emotional loss and depression and anxiety and insomnia from the breakup from this girl I thought I was going to marry, but I really wasn't, and that was all in my head, and so I psychoanalyzed myself to death to figure out how someone else is here, maybe, or how I got there. So it starts chronologically in 2011, and then it follows I do a whole relationship history, and then I do 2011, and I do 2012 when I don't sleep, and you see the whole thing go like this and get worse and worse and worse, and then finally start to turn the page. And then the moral is I'm still alive, so that's good news. But so this book also contains every song and every poem I wrote that year, which is quite a lot, and I put most of the songs into an evening called If Adele Could Do It, So Can I, an evening of mostly sorrow, which premiered on March 21st, 2013 or 14? It must have been 2013. I'm going to go with 13. Final answer because my set list says 2013 and that sounds right. So I brought that too, but I'll read from the book, and then if you want to hear a few songs, let me know, and that should pretty much fill our time. If you have any questions at any point, well, not while I'm reading, but when I'm not reading, we can take questions if people have questions, and I have books to sell, though you don't have to buy one, I just have them just in case. And I brought an autograph pen just in case, just saying, because it's good to be prepared, but not presumptuous. Alright, Sleep Right Now, Emerging from a Dark Year of Insomnia, Anxiety, and Depression from Loss by Seth Bisen-Hersh. There's my cat who had to endure me through the whole year. Alright, prologue. Hello. My name is Seth. Thank you. Oh, it's a new person. I will wait. How exciting. We're up to 5. That says we filled my fingers, so that's good. Welcome. I would start over, but you can just watch the video later. Oh, no, I don't care. I live 5 blocks away. For me, this is very convenient. Prologue. Hello, my name is Seth. Thank you for reading this first attempt at a book. I appreciate you taking the time on an unknown. I owe you an explanation of why I am writing this. Writing an autobiography has been on my bucket list for some time, but I meant to craft one about my entire life closer to the end of it. However, I had a dream last night, not the kind that Martin had, and in that dream, I was writing a book about my dark year, 2012, the year everything crumbled and fell apart. My life almost stopped for 365 days. My struggle that year with insomnia, anxiety, and depression, brought on by massive loss, a romantic relationship breakup, 2 deaths, a stalled project, and a marriage, It's something countless of people experience at some point in their lives. At the time, I thought it was just me. Perhaps it was for lack of trying, but I was unable to find many memoirs about this sort of thing. If you want self-help books about anxiety and insomnia that don't help, you can help yourself to many. On the other hand, what did help was hearing from friends who experienced similar hardships. When they told me repeatedly that it was temporary, I slowly started to believe it. When I heard from doctors who estimated that it would take 2 years or so to get my sleep cycle back to normal, I did not believe them. However, they were right. Hearing from real people about real problems like these, problems that are not glamorous or talked about, often out of shame, is what helped me the most. It was surprising how many people in my life had first-hand experience with these issues. So here I am, assuring anyone going through what I went through that first, it is normal, that's in all caps, to experience insomnia, anxiety, and depression after deep emotional loss. Second, it might take a few years to swim back to the surface from rock bottom, but third, I promise that you will make it through just as I did. Life is long, these periods are temporary. Thus, I am writing this account of my dark year for 2 reasons. 1, to help others get through such tragedy, and 2, to finally make sense of how it happened to me so I can be sure it won't happen again. But if it does, I know that it is something I will get through again, this time with the aid of my own book. Alright, so chapter 1 is the obligatory about me section. We will skip that. Chapter 2 is obligatory relationship history, so that when you read the book you get a picture of where everything is coming from. Let's see. And then chapters 3, 4, and 5 are the good, the bad, and the ugly that follow my relationship from good to bad to ugly, including the 50 haikus I wrote her. Sidebar, a good way to get a girl to break up with you is to write her 50 haikus. Alright, chapter 6. So that was 2011 and earlier, and now we are at 2012. Chapter 6, Sleep No More, January 2012. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned this yet. No, I did not. I changed every single girl I've ever dated in my life name to Betty, in case they stumble across the book and are like, oh my god, what's he saying about me? It's not their actual name. So we're going to call her Betty, which is actually funny because I just wrote Betty White the other day and she wrote back to me within 3 weeks. So now I have a good connotation with the name Betty, which is, I had poured all these bad connotations on the name, but Betty White is really nice and wrote me a handwritten note back, so I highly recommend writing Betty White. Alright, back to the book. Chapter 6, Sleep No More. That's a quote from Shakespeare, for those of you who don't know, but you all know because you're a Mensa. January 2012. As you can see from some of the entries in 2001, or as you will see if you buy the book and read it, I was starting to develop sleep problems. Whenever Betty and I had a fight or did not talk for a while, I would start waking up after 6 hours or so shivering. Now, I realize that a lot of people only sleep 6 hours a night and are fine, but I had been used to 8 to 9 hours a night for 3 decades, so it was not fine by me. Even at MIT, that's where I went to college, you missed that part, I managed to get 7 hours almost every night. I started freaking out about it. That is a bigger understatement than saying Firefly should not have been canceled. Ask anyone who talked to me, and it was all I could talk about. Well, that and Betty. Betty started asking how I was sleeping, and I think she started checking in with me more out of concern for me than anything else. But her concern provided me a lifesaver of hope, and I grasped it with all of my might. The camel-breaking straw came early January. I finally had the gumption to tell her how upset I was that she had still not been able to find a time to exchange Hanukkah gifts, because I was so sure my gift was so wonderful. She had mentioned wanting the whole series of Party of Five on DVD in an off moment, and definitely had no clue I picked up on it, that she would rush to my arms and take me back instantly. Actually, I still have that DVD in my closet if anyone wants to buy it. Instead, we had one of the worst phone conversations I have ever had with another human being. If you don't believe me, ask my friend Lauren, who eavesdropped on the whole thing. I pushed her to tell me when we were getting back together, and she said that was not what she was aiming for at all. It became clear in that moment that she was becoming more entrenched in the opinion that although she was in love with me, there was no way our lives together would work. Instead of just enjoying what we have, building on a relationship, and trusting that by the time we got to that point, we would have it all figured out, she forced the game over. Perhaps it was for the best, but I still believe if she had not been so pressured into being married already and so entrenched in a vision for her life, that we might have had a future. I mean, there is something to be said for knowing what you want and going for it, but there's also something to be said for all I want is to be in love in an intense way with someone who is kind and respectful and wonderful and amazing, all words she had used to describe me during the breakup. I argue to this day that finding all that in a person trumps everything else, but in our penultimate conversation, it was clear to me that she had made up her mind. She wasn't on the fence, as the mixed signals of the past months had suggested to me. She had determined she did not want to spend her life with me, and in her mind, unless there was a perfect ending in sight, she did not want to waste her time regardless of any feelings or connection. She made it clear that we were on different pages. She said the thought of raising a family in Manhattan made her queasy. She wanted to have space and a car, and send her kids to Jewish school and share a Jewish life with a husband who would spend every Sabbath with her, codependent much, and all those Jewish holidays, and this is inferred, wear yarmulkes outside, that's a callback to another chapter, and fast on Yom Kippur without kvetching the entire time. In that moment, I knew it was over. The denial was gone, the bargaining was gone, and it gave way to the biggest depression I have ever experienced in my life. I had found what I had always thought I was looking for, a partner who understood me, a yin to my yang, a girl who had so much in common with me, but was also a fantastic influence on me, and our differences only made us stronger. But that was not a match for what she wanted, and our life values were conflicting. After that call, I fell asleep instantly, but woke up an hour and a half later shaking from a panic attack. This unfortunately was the start of a new sleeping pattern, one that would take over 2 years to correct. I had gone to sleep at 2 a.m. out of sheer exhaustion, so at 3:30 I called Betty to tell her I was shaking. She heard what I was saying and immediately realized how selfish she had been for the past few months. She was finally ready to give me a clean break. She would no longer fight me on this because it was evidently for the best. I figured I would get over it in a few months and then we could reevaluate. But how I was wrong. Everything in my life was in shambles, with love quirks completely stalled and my relationship to my soulmate destroyed. I lost all will to continue doing anything. I was already at the cusp of burning out, and this officially pushed me over into burned out. Something just broke in my psyche. There was a palpable rift in my soul, and I could do nothing to repair it. Do I have to tell you how horrible insomnia and anxiety are? I do not recommend them. If there was a Yelp site for them, my review would be 0 stars, and I would say something like, worst rabbit hole to fall down ever. The panic attacks were the worst. I had never in my life experienced those before. They are quite scary. My heart would palpitate, and I would feel like I was having a heart attack, even though I knew logically I was not. I started having nightmares about her, some of them violent, and I would wake up crying or screaming her name a la Stella in A Streetcar Named Desire. I had been taking melatonin nightly since the first breakup in October. It used to be effective in getting me asleep to my first 6-hour cycle, but now I was no longer sleeping the full 6 hours and I could not get back to sleep. Then I started trying something stronger. This would prove to be a horrible path to take. There is a scene in Silver Linings Playbook where Jennifer and Bradley compare medications they had tried. I believe in those first few months in 2012, I had tried almost all of them. I watched that scene later that year, and I have never related more to characters on a screen. The first pill, per my friend Nicole's suggestion, was the over-the-counter sleep aid Unisom. The first night it worked, as you can see in this journal entry from January 7, 2012, I was still fairly upbeat about things. Journal entry. Well, it was a rough, sleepless week, but thank you, Unisom. I'm 100% certain I made the right decision to end things, but it sucks asshole. But if a doubt lingers after 3 months, when does it go away, if ever? And there were issues. I really idolized and followed her too much. It was unbalanced. I was willing to compromise far too much. I couldn't do it anymore. I need to get sleep again and to take care of myself. And I reaffirmed this the next day as well, January 8th, 2012. It is so over, in all caps. She isn't feeling it still and seems even more resolute. She just hates the clean break concept, but I need it. I slept yesterday, but not today. I need to sleep again. I don't want to talk to her anymore. I need space and to detox. She was being ultra selfish. It's pretty clear she is no longer on the fence, though without my pushing her, she probably will repress and procrastinate. I need to move on, which was as easy as writing those 6 letters, sigh, I'm asleep. Sadly, things would take a turn for the worse very quickly, as I attest to in my entry on January 11, 2012. I have never slept so little in my life, and it is scaring me. I've taken 6 pills today without effect. My adrenaline just won't shut off. It's really scary. I wish for sleep. I need to sleep. Sleep, that's all I want. Sleep, sleep, sleep. I had never experienced anxiety like this before. I could no longer lie down on the couch to watch TV, something I always did for relaxation. Instead, I would either pace around maniacally or lie down and have a wild heart. A few weeks after the breakup, I was hanging out at my friend Molly's apartment, and I was so anxious I could not sit still the entire time. I was fuming and radiating stress. I could almost see it emanating from my fingers like it was electric energy coming out of a supervillain megahuman on The Flash. At this point, my close friend Amanda, who at the time was unemployed, so I would visit her every week after therapy since she lived close to my therapist's office, suggested I try Xanax. She said it would help the anxiety. I went to the free clinic for entertainment industry professionals, and the doctor said he would give me a limited amount, but that I would have to see a psychiatrist if I wanted more. He also gave me a checkup, and he confirmed that I had no physical damage or problems besides a shitload of emotional anxiety. I think he might have thought I was a little bit of a lunatic. The lack of sleep had made me pretty impatient and a tad rude. I kept telling him I wanted a cure for what I had, and he kept telling me that there was not one. There is a reason that he was the doctor in the room and not I. That reason was he was right. However right he was, I could not think clearly and see the underlying root of my problem because of the sleep deprivation cycle. You don't sleep, and then the sleep deprivation makes you irritable and irascible. Then you start getting even more anxious about not sleeping, and you sleep even less. Unfortunately, being incredibly obsessive, sleep took over my thoughts all the time, partly as a defense mechanism to not think about Betty. Indeed, the focus on sleep permeated my whole being, and it was all I could talk about almost 24/7. I felt broken. I could not perform one of the basic fundamentals of human life, sleep. My body just refused to do it, and I was ashamed of myself as the ugly duckling. Xanax did work the first night. 9 hours of sleep. It completely knocked me out. Unfortunately, the second night, it had less of an effect, even though my anxiety was gone, because I thought it was going to work. That is the problem with medications. They have diminishing returns. The more you use them, the more your body gets used to them, and the less effective they are. That weekend was time for the MIT Mystery Hunt, so I went up to Boston. I stayed for the second year with my friend Mo, who is a pharmacologist. Mo had some sporadic insomnia and anxiety issues, and she told me that she just took Benadryl. She even said I could take Benadryl and Xanax at the same time because they would not have an adverse reaction. So, that is what I did that weekend. I did not sleep well per se, but I still managed to get a decent amount and had better luck with sleep than at home. The Hunt's theme that year was musicals, but sadly I had never been less in the mood to puzzle. In fact, I was so anxious I had to keep taking walks around campus to calm down. I mean, it had just happened, so this makes sense. And thankfully, I hung with a non-judgmental, wonderful group of individuals who did not give me a hard time about it. In fact, I learned that a few of them had similar issues. More on this later, but this is when I started to realize what I was going through was, if not completely normal, fairly common, which is a part of the reason I am writing this now. Here is what I said in my journal on the bus back to New York City on January 16th, 2000. Oh, that's a typo. That should be 2012. Oh, typo in my book. That's really sad. There's still typos. Alright, anyway, 2012. Hunt was short this year. Was really tired first day from lack of sleep. Second day was anxious. Those are my two settings. Debating taking Xanax all day, but would rather not. I miss her. I really want to spend my life with her, and that's not happening, and that's okay given all the incompatibilities and her issues and ambivalence. I want to let go of all this anxiety, but how? It's frustrating. I'm trying really hard, probably trying too much. I need to stop thinking about her and sleep and anxiety and just live my life again. I will be fine, but when? Life is too short for this crap. While being in Boston helped a bit with the sleep issues, on return to my apartment it worsened again because I had started associating all the negativity with my living space. Even being in it would make me anxious for most, really all, of the dark year. With the Xanax-Benadryl combination working less each day and being completely torn about being on any sort of medication in the first place, I cautiously decided to try another pill I had heard about, Ambien. This is what I wrote on my yellow pad in the waiting room at a different inexpensive walk-in clinic I went to on January 20th, 2012. I am stuck at the doctor's and I am really anxious. 2 hours to wait for an Ambien prescription. Oh, how frustrating life can be. Hopefully the doctor here will give me what I asked for. It's also very scary to me to be on these drugs, but 2 hours of sleep each night is outrageous. What the fuck is wrong with me? I became obsessed with her and the idea of a life with her, even though there would have been so many compromises. Who the hell wants to leave Manhattan? She is so not worth all of this insomniac torture bullshit. I don't like the idea of more meds at all. She is not worth it. She is not the one. The one won't be this immature and indecisive, period. I want to let go of my anger towards her. I want to sleep and create again. How do I let go of this rage and anger and anxiety? How do I let myself try pills? What if they don't work? I know temporary, one thing at a time. I have a plan. 1, get Ambien. 2, sleep again. 3, control my anxiety while awake in every way possible. 4, be okay being alone again. 5, go to psychiatrist. 6, get strong, healthy meds. 7, get therapy and vent the rage. 8, wean off the meds. 9, be my normal self. 10, get stuff done and written again. Honestly, I think I'd write fine without the anxiety. I'm going up and down here, but at least I'm still sitting here. Breathe, it's fine. The doctor will give me Ambien. I will sleep. I will be able... Oh, it looks like the doctor arrived mid-sentence. That entry has a more abrupt ending than The Sopranos. Anyway, it is clear that I hit anger for a bit of that entry in between my anxiety about being on meds. So I told the doctor what was going on. Again, she told me that this kind of deep loss and insomnia takes years to get over sometimes. I did not believe her, but she gladly gave me a handful of Ambien, repeating what the other doctor said, that I would need to go to a psychiatrist if I wanted more. The night of January 20th, 2012, my friend Aaron came over to watch Merlin. Aaron and I typically watch science fiction fantasy shows together every other week or so. I could barely stay awake, but I pushed myself up to my normal bedtime, at which point I was completely convinced I would have the best sleep of my life, given Ambien's hype. I lay down so relieved to finally get a good night's sleep, and after 4 hours I woke up with a start. I could feel my anxiety pushing through the sedating effect of the Ambien. My heart was beating incredibly fast while my brain was fuzzy. I went to calm down on the couch for a bit and somehow woke up in the bed again an hour later shaking. I had no idea how I had got from the couch to the bed. Then I started pacing back and forth. Pacing was a bad habit I had picked up when trying to get back to sleep. Probably one of the worst things you can do, revving yourself up again. But this was pacing on speed, the exact opposite of what Ambien was supposed to do. I think I've paced like a lunatic for 2 hours, back and forth, at what felt like warp speed. Smee thought I was not taking my cat, by the way. He was incredibly concerned, which is unusual if I don't have a food bowl in my hand. After the pacing, I lay down. I could not move. I could not breathe. I thought I was going to die. I called Eric and Amy, 2 of my doctor friends, and they promised me I was not dying. I had to focus completely on my breathing, though, and if I stopped, I would not breathe. It was incredibly frightening. I did something I had never done before. I called my parents. I don't know why I felt such a stigma about bringing them into something this personal, but at this point I did not see any other solution. I called my friend Lauren to watch me, and I fled to New Jersey for the weekend, where I confessed everything that had been going on for the last few months. I don't think they even recognized me. I had fallen so far off of the deep end. My father took me to the ER in New Jersey, where they told me what the other doctors told me, that I was physically fine, that it was an emotional mental problem that would take time to get over. Well, I did not want to wait. I was sick of it. 2 weeks of not sleeping properly. What could be worse? I pleaded with them, and they finally got their resident psychiatrist on the phone to prescribe me trazodone. I have been doing a lot of research on the interwebs, and that's the next drug I thought would surely work. I mean, it's basically horse tranquilizer. Side note, I do not suggest ever trying to self-medicate. That afternoon, I fell asleep for a few hours watching a boring movie on Netflix, which was incredible. By this point, my friend Jessica had texted me the number of the psychoanalyst she had met named Don. I managed to get a hold of Don, who talked to me for an hour pro bono and assured me I was going to be okay. I didn't know that I would still be here without Don. He told me that I could call him as much as I wanted that weekend, besides the hours when he would be sleeping. I must have talked to him 4 times, and he constantly calmed me down and did not charge me a bit for this. He was truly a lifeline. I would see him for 4 months before I decided psychoanalysis can only take you so far, but I am forever grateful to him. His first step was to get me to live an hour at a time. Getting through 1 hour, then the next, instead of worrying about filling a day or a weekend, that helped considerably right away, as that night I was definitely less anxious. I took my melatonin, some Benadryl, and a trazodone around 2:30 a.m. Nothing. No effect. I could not sleep at all. I was up for hours, finally fell asleep, and then woke up really groggy. It was like an elephant was standing on my head, but even though my brain was not functioning, my body would still not let me sleep. Before heading on the bus back to the city, I did not want to go back. I canceled all my Monday clients, but I do my showcases on Tuesdays, and canceling one of those would have been expensive. More on this affected my career in a few chapters, exclamation point. We visited a psychiatric clinic at the ER had suggested. That doctor was a quack. For some reason, maybe because I came in like a raving maniac, spewing how much I needed something that would let me sleep right now. I had all the books, very clever. He put me on Klonopin and Seroquel. Klonopin, I understand, that's an anti-anxiety medication, but Seroquel is an antipsychotic used for schizophrenics. It was also incredibly expensive. Thankfully, the CVS pharmacist realized it was probably not what I was going to stay on and talked me into just buying a handful to start. Now she had my best interest at heart. Anyway, I must say Seroquel worked after a few days, and I have the notes to prove it. From this week or so, I have pages of logs about how I was sleeping. All told, I have an entire yellow pad of sleep notes from those first few months. As you can see, it took a few days, but then I actually started sleeping well. January 25th, 2012, only Klonopin, slept 2 to 4, awake 4 to 8, slept 8 to 9, sort of, 9 to 10, lazed, almost slept. January 26, 2012, 1 a.m. took both pills, slept off and on till 11:40, mostly off. January 27, 2012, 1:30 a.m. took pills, tossed until 2:20, up 9:30, 2 inches to sleep. January 30th, 2012, 1 a.m. took both full pills, slept well, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Therefore, Seroquel did break the cycle as I started sleeping 8 to 9 hours every night again. However, my brain was foggy, and I spent most of those days lethargic and sometimes dizzy. I could not focus on anything, which is good when you are dwelling on things, but not if you want to be productive. This is what I had to say about the side effects on January 28, 2012. Sleeping again on Seroquel, but terrified of being on it for too long. Also, it makes me drowsy all day, so perhaps it'll get better as I seem to be functioning as long as I'm lying in bed. I'm depressed, boosts the anxiety, and that's what is left, but the pill makes it worse, adding to the lethargy, clouding my brain so I can't emote. I still vote for half a dose. I hope that will let me sleep. I miss her so much. I would have seen her tonight and tomorrow. I still dream of proposing to her. I can't blame the pill for the depression, but it sure makes it harder to muster energy. Plus, I didn't make plans for today not knowing how I would feel. I'm listless. I know I should get up, but it's so hopeless. I don't have many friends who are free ever. I definitely need to get out and walk today. Trying to motivate myself to get up is onerous, but it could just be this pill. It's probably me though. I jumped down the rabbit hole too far. I've had moments as myself again, very brief ones. I was already unhappy about my career in September, and I'm too groggy to write. That's what I like to do, but it's so lonely. I don't want to be alone, so I was willing to adopt my life to hers. I used to be so energetic, at least able to sit still at a computer and relax. The pill exacerbates my wallowing a lot. I don't like being alone at all. I should eat, ... When I went back to New Jersey a week later, I saw another doctor at the clinic. He was appalled that the other one had put me on Seroquel and took me off of it immediately. He basically reiterated that I needed non-medical solutions and said that I could stay on Klonopin temporarily, but go back to taking melatonin with it instead of Seroquel. That is the combination I would stay on for the next few months. It got me back up to 7-ish hours a night after a while, but at a cost to my energy and ability to be excited about anything. Klonopin is by definition an anti-anxiety medication, but it does not just take away anxiety, it takes away any strong emotional feelings, which is good when you are feeling devastated, but bad when you try to be elated. There was no excitement in my life, and adrenaline was impossible to muster up. I could not get up the energy to do anything. Performing was especially hard too, and not just being funny on stage, even piano playing was harder. I lost that extra artistic edge that made me special, and I hated it. I hated it so much. Before I continue with the chronology, I am going to say that what a lot of people have said before, medications suck. Now, there are definitely people who need them, and I think anyone who is not an artist might benefit from a little edge taken off, but for me it was hell. I know artists feel more deeply than others, but that is what propels our work. Take that away, and we are not artists. So I struggled with the fact that I had to be on this stuff that was making me less of who I was. In fact, I had a date in February, and the girl said she liked the fact that I was mellow. Me, mellow? That just shows you how these pills completely change your personality. And I really do believe if I had just toughened through all the anxiety and insomnia without any sleep aids, I would have gotten back on track faster. I think they all work together to kind of manipulate your patterns and make it harder for you to achieve natural sleep. So though I know there are definitely times and situations when meds are essential, for those of you with a situation trigger, I would suggest do not take meds for anxiety or sleep unless you're in dire straits, which admittedly I was, and make sure you get them from a trained professional who will monitor you. And be prepared for them to alter your personality and for it to take much longer to get off them than it took for you to get on. More on withdrawing from them in a few chapters. Here is a journal entry from the last day of the first month of the dark year on January 31st, 2012. That's another typo, 2012. Wow, I should have read this book before I published it. I see why Rory has so many journals. Where else can you dump all of the pain without it being a burden? I don't know. I feel awake right now, just at sea. I asked for a restful 8 hours and then to be up, and I am. I even wrote some poems. I am at a loss to fill all of the hours in the day. I'm dreading waking up for auditions, but so glad to have a few days lined up. I'm depressed because just when things start to pick up, I develop a fucking sleeping disorder. And the thought of even doing taxes makes me anxious. Small steps, I know. I mean, I'm writing in my journal again. Wow, I was willing to compromise so much for her. I still wish she's changed her mind. I can't stop thinking about her. It's a vicious cycle of depression, but I slept well today, and I know I will be great tonight because there is less of fog in my brain. Smee always wakes me right when I hit a nap. I feel like the last week was rock bottom, and I'm crawling back up, but it's slow, and I'm impatient, but if I rush, I will fall faster. I should eat breakfast. I am not that groggy now. Let's hope that lasts. I wish something could excite me. I wish she'd change her mind. I miss denial a lot, but she does not want me. She wants to share Judaism. That is not me. Frowny face. Very sad day. And here are the aforementioned poems, plus one I had written a week earlier. The one, January 20, 2012. It's disappointing when you find the one you thought was the one is not the one. It's devastating when you finally have to declare it done. You wake up with your heart screaming in the middle of sleep, sleep that never has a chance to get close to deep. The constant struggle to not obsess and obsess over each mistake, to stop thinking her name as you drift off only to wake. When will the grip finally subside? I want to let go of the pain, why must it hide? The darkness buries itself in insomnia and anxiety so intense, why can't it come out so it can start to make sense? Marry me, January 31st, 2012. Will you marry me? It won't be so bad. We could have back the happiness we had. We could excise the hurtful parts and just listen to our hearts. Each day the love bond would grow, yet forever you reply, I don't know. Broken heart, January 31st, 2012. So this is what a true broken heart feels like. My entire soul is shattered, my will to get out of bed suppressed, pain oozing from every pore, an inability to focus on anything, a fixation on a fantasy of a life together, a lack of energy to redirect thoughts, a loss on how to be myself again, a me I love to be, a me she loves so much that it hurts to be him again. Everything triggers thought of her, even the smallest thing trickles memories of our connection, such a palpable connection and an attraction too potent to sustain. A once-in-a-lifetime month has passed, and I am destroyed trying to put back the pieces of my life. Side note, it is rare when I do not rhyme or use simple rhyme and rhyme schemes, but before I could feasibly write songs with clever rhymes and lyrics that scan properly, I needed to just express my pain somehow. January was definitely the worst month because it was all so new. The insomnia would persist throughout the year, but as it went on, it would eventually bother me less because I was getting used to it. No one has ever died from insomnia, but its effects on one's psyche are immense, intense, and destabilizing. My journey to recovery had only just begun. Alright, that is the end of chapter 6. Just to give you a preview, chapter 7 is You've Gotta Have Friends. So it is about all the friends that help me. But I keep the chronology going and then I make each chapter a theme. Chapter 8 is Trying Anything and Everything is Trying. So that was a list of everything I tried that wasn't medication. April, the only good withdrawals are from ATMs. That's all about getting off the drugs. May I finally move on? That's cute. I believe that chapter is about cognitive behavior therapy, which I really give a thumbs up to. Summertime and the living ain't easy. What's the June chapter about? The June chapter is about, I started trying all these Chinese herbs. Not to point to you because you're from China, but that's what happened, so it's okay. And then August, Osage County. That's just because I wanted to be cute. That's about, in July, right? July is compounded loss, compounds. July I lost to my grandparents. The July chapter is about my grandparents. August is about going away for a little bit. Wedded to Misery is September. That was my sister's wedding, which is really hard when you are the only single person at your younger sister's wedding. Don't recommend that. And then October and November and December all get lumped in writing out the dark year because that's when I finally was through all the misery and could start climbing up. Chapter 16 is a new year, which is 2013 in one chapter. And then it ends with What Do I Want Now? I don't know, I guess I could read, do you want me to read the ending? I could read you the epilogue.
Well, actually, I'd like to know, if it's okay, I'd like to know a little bit more about, like, just your story, like, not from the book, but, like, what brought you, like, I mean, 'cause everyone at some point has gone through stress, breakups.
Well, I'll tell you, you think you've been through it, but then when you have such a compounded amount of where you think your life is going to be and you hit your 30s, I think it's worse. I've had many breakups before, and some weren't so good, but nothing like this before.
Was it that you allowed yourself to be this fixated on this particular person? Or
I believe it was
person that special? Or
I think it was a combination of the fact that I had never felt such a connection with someone before. I'm pretty sure, even to this day, that she was my soulmate, but I'm also pretty sure you cannot be with your soulmate because it makes you crazy and the fire is really burned and then it blows up in your face. I have quite a few friends who have had this experience now. It could just be that it was a super physical attraction. It was a place where I was. If you read the earlier chapters to get to the history of that I had just come off of a 3.5-year relationship with this other girl, and then my sister got engaged, and I was like, shit, I need to find a wife, and I got very obsessed with being behind my sister, who is 6.5 years younger, and I think that was a big part of it, that I met someone and I went, this could be my wife, and she had everything I'd ever wanted, but I just was not what she wanted. So that's all it was. I mean, she had everything. There was nothing for me that was a deal breaker. So it's very hard, I think, when you find someone who's absolutely perfect for you and then you're not perfect for them. But the problem also was I might have been perfect for her had she actually gotten her shit together and gotten therapy. I don't talk about her issues in the book at all because it's not, it's not her book. And also she would really kill me if she ever found out. But
how'd she ever know? You called her Betty.
we have a mutual friend who probably would have tattled on me, but no, well, I'll tell you guys, but she had a lot of issues. She didn't sleep very well. Her fiance, her ex-fiance had broken up with her without telling her and just kind of disappeared. And so she had huge abandonment issues because her father was murdered and it was her fault. So she was kind of messed up.
It's like a Bruce Wayne kind of thing?
No, it's just that he was bipolar and they put him in the psych ward because he wouldn't take his meds, and then this homicidal guy in the same cell beat him to death. And so if they had bailed him out, he wouldn't have died. So there's a huge amount of guilt in her, so she became Orthodox Jewish instead of conservative Jewish. So it doesn't really matter though, as you learn in CBT, it does not matter why a person is the way they are, you just have to take them where they are, because you can't actually help or change another person, that's something they have to do for themselves.
What is CBT?
CBT, cognitive therapy, you can read all about that in chapter on May. CBT is by far the thing that saved my life. I would give 4 months of CBT to every single human on this planet. It was up to me. I think it is absolutely fantastic. But I think it was just a combination.
There is actually, sorry just to throw this out there, but CBT sounded familiar. It's actually an acronym in the BDSM community as well.
BDSM?
Yeah. You can Google it if you want.
Really?
Not necessarily recommended, but you can Google it.
That's actually...
It's also called CBT.
Well, there's a limited amount of letters.
Recommend it.
Yes. Well, S&M, it can be fun, but, I don't really know.
Sorry.
She was definitely not into any of that sort of stuff. She couldn't even watch violent movies.
Oh.
Is that a question?
Obviously it's been a couple of years since you went through all this. Have you been dating in the meantime? And
that is in the chapter of 2014. I did have a rebound girl, which was kind of fun, but she was kind of dumb. Hopefully that doesn't get back to her. I still talk to her.
You realize that as you were reading this chapter, I kept thinking, I can't help this. If I were a woman thinking about dating you, and I read that chapter, I would say, I can't risk putting this man through what he's gone through.
Well, if you get
I
through
would
the
be out
book,
the door very fast.
I don't let anything affect me anymore because I'm matured now. But it's true. It could be like that. I don't know. I tend to date groupies though, so people who are already obsessed with me is my preferred way to date. It's much easier than being obsessed with a girl.
That's true.
I mean, you don't actually like her in the end, but it's really fun for a few months. That's what I highly recommend. Dating your groupies. I would say that's probably true. I think if they watch my whole web series and still want to date me, then it's a good sign. So there's a lot of baggage in there. But I did have this one girl she lived in India, so we weren't really dating. But she had just been through something horrible too, so we became very close, and then she came to visit and we had a little bit of a fling, but of course she lives in India. And she said something like that, and she was like, I don't want to be the subject of your next book. And I had to kind of reassure her. I was like, no, that's never happening again. I'm not quite sure that I will ever love anyone again, it could happen. There is examples, as I say in the book. My grandfather is 96 years old and he has a girlfriend who's 82 and he seems to like her a lot. So like, I do think that I will probably still date. I don't know that I'll ever fall that intensely in love with somebody, but.
Your mistake when you reassured her was saying it's okay, Betty.
It's okay, Betty. I don't know. It's not a priority in my life to date. I kind of, through writing the book, have finally put a coffin on ever getting married and having kids myself. I've just decided I obviously don't really want it. It was just something that society thrust upon me. Because if I had wanted it, it would have happened by now. But I don't think I do. So then it makes it even harder to date. Because girls in their 20s don't want to date guys in their 30s unless they have money. And girls in their 30s only want to date guys who want to get married for the most part. So it's really hard finding girls who are not. There's some, but.
We have a woman here who says that's not true. I don't know.
That's my personal opinion. I don't think, like, at least that's not, some of my friends don't do that.
Okay, to be fair, some of your friends probably do. There are a lot of younger girls that look for security, money, power, whatever, but that's
like
not.
They just want to get married because they're 30s.
I would think a lot of people do. A lot of girls want kids. I would think more girls than guys want kids. Now that I'm supremely out of the ever having kids, but my sister's having a kid and after watching her go through pregnancy, I have no urge to ever have kids. I think I will be a wonderful uncle and I think that will be enough. That makes it harder to date though, I will tell you. It's like you're putting
there are a
everything
lot of people that don't want, there's a lot of women that don't want to get married, that don't want kids.
I don't know where you find these women.
Sometimes Chinese.
Not the ones I meet.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably, I don't know what you've looked at or how you've tried, but there's plenty of. Like,
I don't care enough.
Well, I'm just saying, in terms of companionship, it's normal for a lot of people to.
I have a
Hopefully
cat.
you're not doing anything physical with said cat.
No, but I have
You
lots
might
of
sweet,
friends I can talk to all night long. I have friends all over the world, so pretty much any hour of the day I can text someone and get a response.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. I'm saying it'll be more likely that I will get the kinds of girls I want when I'm famous and have groupies. Because I'm not going to settle, and I don't have any urge to date someone who is not as good as people I've dated in the past. So unless I'm not gonna spend years with somebody who I don't have the same passion I had for Betty. It's just not happening anymore.
I would be the last person to suggest doing anything simply because society pressures you into it. If you want to talk afterwards, I'm happy to tell you all about the non-traditional stuff that I'm into. But that being said, you should figure out what it is that you want.
I have
and
no
then find
problem
people that
with
are compatible.
non-traditional. It's just hard to find people in general, and it's not a priority. My priority is to get my show off Broadway and to get my TV show on network television.
Well, that's a good transition. Tell us, if you don't mind, I'm more interested in hearing about your
I could
musical
talk about
training
that
and-
stuff for years.
and,
Yeah,
and what brought you to writing and things you've done.
Oh, that's easy. That's not emotional at all. I'll stop crying in my mind. Well, I've been writing since I was 13. My first song was "I Love My Mom" for my mom's birthday, and
I bet it's a better song than "Happy Birthday."
It
But that's a very low
probably
bar.
was.
Sorry.
I think it was a pretty good song. I didn't bring that binder with the history of Seth's writing, but no, I thought it was good. And then I learned that you don't actually have to get people presents if you write them songs. So, being Jewish, I like saving money and started writing everybody's songs. And to this day, I write my friends' wedding jingles so that I don't have to give them money for their wedding. It's great. I highly recommend it.
I do it.
But I was writing songs for all throughout. I was writing a lot of music, and then I started getting into lyrics more in grad school. I was writing really crappy lyrics all through college, but I co-wrote some songs with my friend Kevin, who now lives in China, where I also have visited, but I've only been to Shanghai and the places around Shanghai. Kevin and I wrote some songs in college. I used to set a lot of Shakespeare as well. I wrote a musical, senior year of college with my high school friend Dan called Trivial Pursuits, which was a show about high school kids going to college. And I thought it was going to go to Broadway, and it's really horrible when you listen to it now. It is so bad. But at the time, I was really convinced it was going to go to Broadway. Then I wrote a musical called Pandora's Children, which was really, really bad also. But I think it's important to write a lot of bad things in your youth.
Being a bad musical has not kept some things off of Broadway.
Oh.
We won't go there.
The only thing it takes to make it on Broadway is money. You just need somebody who has money and wants to give it to you. That's really it. So if you have friends and family who have money, you can put your shit on Broadway, and that'll happen. You just need people who don't care you're going to lose all their money. But that's a whole different story. So what else did I write? Then 2003, so I went to MIT for computer science because I have Jewish parents. And then I double majored in music composition, and my teacher, who has since died, told me when I brought one of the songs Kevin and I wrote that I should go into writing musicals, and I was like, are you kidding me? And he's like, no, you should do it. So then I went to NYU and I got a degree, a master's in music technology, because I thought that would combine both the music and the computer science, and they said they got people jobs when you graduated, and they were lying, but that's okay. So I got a master's in something completely useless, but it looks nice, and I just say I have a master's from NYU in my bio so that people think that I went to musical theater writing school, which I didn't. But no one ever checks, so it's fine. And I took some musical theater writing classes there in the BMI style. One of the professors, Alan Cohen, was a BMI graduate, so I did have a year.
I know Alan.
Oh, Alan Cohen, you know?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him since I graduated. I talked to Steven Rosenhaus more. Do you know him?
No.
Steve took over for Alan, and I took a year of private lessons with him. Very nice guy.
Alan and I got our doctorates together at City University.
That's cool. He was really great.
Yes, Alan is.
I learned, between Alan and Steven, I learned an awful lot. I also joined the NYU Songwriters Club, which was a lot of more folky type writers, but it was absolutely incredible to like be in that kind of peer situation where we would all write songs, and they'd be like, don't rhyme year and year, and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's true. Why would I want to rhyme those all the time?
Changing now with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Don't get me started on that.
Well, whether you like it or not, it's a game changer.
It's all right. That's what they said about Rent, and Rent didn't really change the game that much.
No, and I don't think there's been a great rock musical since Hair, frankly, but this one, I think, is going to change the rules.
I will believe it when the rules are changed.
Okay.
I believe that rules really do not change, and you're going to still have a lot of jukebox stuff coming,
Yeah, that's
like the
true.
Joria Stefan musical. I think it'll be an anomaly. It'll be the one thing that is like that.
You may be right, but...
And you'll have a lot of people trying to emulate it, and
Yes.
they won't be good.
No, but he's a genius. He really does very, very
He
well.
is one of my least favorite people in the world, but we can agree to disagree.
Okay.
You mentioned that you've written a lot of stuff that you thought was good at the time, but in retrospect turned out to be pretty crappy. So what have you written that's really good?
Oh, well, I'm almost there. I was going chronologically. I had two fringe musicals that were pretty decent, although it was mostly the book problems. Meaningless Sex and The Spickner Spin, which was a political satire about a bum who gets elected mayor. Very fun. They got lots of great reviews, and we got lots of awards, but all those collaborators flaked. Then I took off from writing musicals for a while, and I wrote 8 cabaret acts of songs, which is how I really honed my craft at writing songs. And now we are in the process. I've developed a song cycle called Love Quirks, which we turned into a musical. The first presentation of that was 2010, so we're doing another one in a couple weeks. So it's been a 5-year process, but that show has gotten very streamlined, and I have a producer lined up. Of course, he needs to raise $500,000 to move it off Broadway. So I don't really know how long that's going to take, but it's really nice to actually have a younger producer so that I don't have to produce it. Yes.
About Love Quirks, when's that coming up?
We're doing a reading on November 12th for industry, which is code for rich people. So if any of you are or know rich people, please, let me know.
I'm not rich, but I would be glad to see Love Quirks.
Yes, well, we have to reserve the tickets for people who know people who are going to put money into it.
Oh, well.
That is the whole point of it.
Well, I'm disappointed, but
I will let you know.
I have a
We
good musical
extra
coming up,
room.
and I'd gladly invite you to the reading.
Well, it's a little different when you're trying to put $500,000 together.
Yeah.
Maybe you can find some rich friends between now and then.
Yeah, well, if I had rich friends, I'd get my own show produced.
Well, find somebody who's got $1 million. Put half into yours and half into his.
That's how everyone is. That's the problem. Everyone has their own friends. But my new producer is he's going to Wagner College, but he's young and his parents are lovely. So that's really all you need to do is find someone who falls in love with your show who has no talent but wants to be in theater.
Will you do a song?
Yes, I don't have any songs from Love Quirks. I've only brought the sad material, but I do have some comedy stuff in the sad. I could do one of the funny songs. You want a funny song or you want one of the sad songs? Or you want
About one of each.
Yeah. Alright, I guess I'll start sad so that we can end funny. So this is the first breakup song I wrote about Betty.
Did you rhyme year and tear?
Hopefully this key is okay. I forgot to check. No, that's fine. Alright, good. This is not Brian's key. I should have known this never could last. You fell too slow, I fell too fast. There were times we were on the same page, but they were too few, and now there's nothing to do because we're through. I should know this would stress you out. I was too sure, but you have doubt. I love you with all of my soul, and we had so much fun. But I guess if we are done, you're not the one. I felt like I was flying, denying the joy I felt. My entire body radiated from the love you emanated. But now part of my soul is missing, creeping up feeling I felt when we were kissing. I should have known all things must end. There are some wounds time cannot mend. There were times it felt I would never again be alone, and I'm still reeling from the love that you showed. But now has gone, and I'm back on my own. There's further to crash, the higher you feel. I should have known. Alright, so this song is about my experiences with OK Cupid. Cute and tiny, your profile made me smile. We're 99% compatible, that's a lot. And we have got so many interests that are the same. Shall we grab coffee? It's just me, that's all. likes to rhyme. Am I too ugly? Am I too fat? Do you only date doctors and lawyers? Did you hate how I answered my profile questions? Do you want references from my friends, family, or past employers? They're cute and tiny. I'm whiny with the mighty, but I'm before my total agony. If a girl wants just what she describes, they're to a T. You should want me, don't you see? But we both speak English fluently. How rare, it's unfair, you regard me as shattered my self-esteem and wrecked my romantic dream. You know what I am through with this culture. I'm signing off for good. Even you're silent, you would hear me so. But alas, here I go to leave my town. No apology for Samantha disappointing. I'm feeling comfort. But go on and desert me for the last time. Always and forever.
That was the upbeat one.
Yes, that's why I stopped online dating.
Ah.
It's supposed to be funny.
I've done a lot of writing. I've also gone through like a lot of tragic things one after another in my life, and I found writing both poems and songs very therapeutic. But unlike you, I have no musical talent, and I would love to be able to have my lyrics set to music. Is there any way, like I have in my mind a possible melody, but I wouldn't know how to, do it professionally and put the chords in and all that.
I don't personally do that, but there are people who would, I'm sure. I'm taking my eye off of musicals right now. I'm working on my TV show, which is totally different stand over there, because I find that theater is very ephemeral, and it's, nice, but you're performing for 5 people, and then that's all the people you've touched. So I'm trying to focus on getting my show on television so I can, even a low-rated television show, you have 500,000 people watching every week. So that is why I'm like, gotta get there. I want to go to there, as Tina Fey would say. But I've done 5 seasons of my web series, Everyday Little Seth, and I just got a new collaborator who works in TV, and we wrote a pilot, and we're going to shoot that in April. So most of my energy is going towards that and to the reading of Love Quirks. And I'm also writing one more musical about my grandmother's life through the Holocaust and through Auschwitz and through emigrating to America. Then I'm working with another collaborator who happens to be incredibly flaky. But in theory, we're writing that. And then I have another show, More to Love, which is done and it's really cute. That's on the back burner. And I might be writing a new children's musical, although the guy who wrote the book is not getting back to me either. So the moral of my life is everyone takes forever to get back to you. So it's important to have as many different projects as possible that you can click on pause on one when someone gets back to you. And then when you're done with what you can do, you click pause. And then you focus on something else while you're waiting on everybody else, and eventually they, in theory, will get back to you. I'm also writing a second book right now called Every Page a Little Seth, which is going to be more of an essay book like Lena Dunham's book, but from my perspective, which covers 30 topics from the 30 episodes of my web series, and I take the topic head, and each episode of the web series is based on one of my songs and goes in this direction, but the book goes in this direction, so they're tangential essays, some of them about dating, some of them about marriage, some of them about smartphones. I have a chapter on smartphone that I wrote today and how much I hate them. I just wrote that chapter today, that's why I'm in that mood. But I'm not usually so antagonistic. I just wrote the chapter today, so it's all like, all that material is percolating still. I think it's going to be very funny, I hope. I hope it's going to be funnier than this one. It's very low bar, because this one's not that funny.
How did you decide, like, did you self-publish or did you?
I did self-publish. I self-produce and self-publish everything. That's really the only way to do anything these days because no one wants to put your stuff up. Shouldn't talk and drink at the same time, except for you. That's what I find. Everybody has their own agenda, and unless you match exactly what they're looking for, they're not going to want to put out your stuff. And the problem with the book is I have a friend who works as a literary agent, and I'm doing this journal, this genre, this genre, and this genre, and it's like all smushed together in the book, and people in the industry can't handle that. They want this. They don't want this. So that's probably my problem in all my career is I straddle way too much at the same time. And in theory, that becomes an asset in your 40s, but I don't know because I'm not there yet.
How did you decide on this particular self-publication?
I had to write it. We did a 3-week run of Love Perks last September. In 2014, I was doing really well, but the show ended, and you get post-show depression after a show. It's a normal thing. PSD, which stands for other things, I'm sure, in S&M too. But and so it was like, oh my God, I was miserable, and we did the reading in May, and then we raised $10,000 on Kickstarter for 6 weeks last summer in 2014, and it was basically from May until the end of September, I was focused on one project nonstop, pretty much since March, really, is when we started planning for the reading. So it was 6 months. And then it was done, and I was like, I got really depressed, and I was like, oh my God, I'm getting depressed. I haven't gotten depressed in a really long time. And then I was like, so I think everything that had happened was still under the surface somewhere, and the only way to kind of exercise the demon was to write it. So I took a week in October. I wrote the whole 300-page book in 8 days, and I wrote for 10 days. 10 hours a day for 8 days. I went to see Jim Gaffigan at Barnes & Noble, and he was reading his book, and I was like, why does Jim Gaffigan have a book and I don't have a book? He's not that famous, and now he has his own TV show. I think you just have to be in your 40s. I think that's what happens, is you just keep being around, and all of a sudden people notice you. I think that's what happened, because also Louis C.K. didn't have a TV show until his 40s, and so that's what I'm hoping I'm like them. But
How do you explain Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber is a different field. It's a total.
That wasn't serious.
That's a totally different field, and you're not gonna have your own. He doesn't have his own TV show. He just has a pop album. That is a young market. That kind of pop. Once you're at 25, you're done. Unless you're. Taylor Swift's gonna hit 25, and she's gonna have to transition. Unless you're Madonna. Madonna's amazing. No, what was I saying? So I just had to write it. I was just like, I went to see Jim Gaffigan, and I was like, I need to write this book. And I slept on it, and I was saying in the prologue, I had a dream that I wrote a book about the dark year, and then I was giving a book reading like Jim Gaffigan at Barnes & Noble, which I guess is what we're doing, except we're not at Barnes & Noble. And I did do one in the Lower East Side that was really fun, and I sold 0 copies, but that's okay. So I literally was like, why the fuck don't I have a book? Why don't I just write it? And I had so many notes that I had taken. I had 2 pads. It was sprawling things in the middle of the night. As you're seeing in a couple chapters, one of my therapists said it would be good to just write everything that comes to your mind and try to get it out of you. But I would spend hours sitting there, stream of consciousness, writing it all out. And I had so many pads. So, I think probably at least a third, maybe half the book is transcriptions from all that. And then I found all these emails I wrote, and I found all the poems, and I put all the lyrics to the songs that became If Adele Could Do It, So Can I, and I put all those in order, and it was just, I needed to just finally, once and for all, figure out what the fuck had happened, that I had gone through all that, and I wrote through, and I analyzed my entire history from when I was born with being obsessed with finding the one, and like, all my life I've been obsessed with it, and it's just how society trains you to think about things, and all those Disney movies and all that talk about finding it. And you know what? Not everyone finds it, and most of the people who find it don't really have it and are just settling. And that's just the truth. And I have friends who are married who obviously do not have the kind of passion for each other that I had for my ex-girlfriend. And that's just the truth of the matter. God, it was some TV show I was watching or some movie that I was just watching this week that was like, you either choose to be unhappy alone or choose to be unhappy with a person. I forget what it was. Was it a book? It was a TV show or a movie? And I was just like, yes, that's exactly what it is. You either choose to spend your life with someone and keep yourself company, but it doesn't change the fact that whatever you're feeling, you're going to feel. You know, people get so into these things, it's like a drug, and it becomes so like, you know, it's a chemical thing that they get addicted and attached to these people, and it's not always, you know, for the best. I mean, sometimes it must work out. I don't know. My sister's pretty happy, so we'll see how long that lasts once they have kids, but it could. You know, people do. But it's like you don't have to, like maybe 1 in 4 people find it, and like, or maybe it's 1 in 8 people, or 1 in 100, I don't know. It's like, but you can't make your whole life trying to find it. And that was pretty much where I got to the end of the book. I was like, that's it, and it's fine. It's fine if I never find it. It's fine if I find it and it doesn't look like I'm supposed to look like, and it's fine if I find it and it lasts for 5 years and then I'm single again for 5 years. Like, it just doesn't matter, and you just gotta let go of caring about it and let go of trying to control it, because you can't control it, and you can't control anything really. So and it's the same thing with self-publishing. That's the only way you're going to get it out there. And I didn't care. I mean, it would have been nice to have an editor, because I'm still finding typos, and I couldn't read the book once it was done. I couldn't go back and read it through it for typos, so I relied on a few friends who did not do a very good job. And I wish I could have read it. I mean, my next book, I will make sure to read it and not have typos, but I couldn't relive it. After I wrote it, I was like, I'm done. The day after I wrote it is when I met that Indian girl online, actually, and then we talked for quite a few months. And it was safe for her, because she had just gotten out of something horrible, and she just had left her Hinge, which is an app site for those of you who aren't on dating things, and she had left it set to New York, because she was here for 2 weeks, and she didn't really want to date anyone in India. So it was like having like a long distance pen pal thing, and we would talk 10 hours a day for a while, and that was really nice. And then that petered out after 2 months. But you know, I was open to actually talking to someone after finally getting this whole thing out of my soul. And now it's like, now that it's written, it's like once you've written something, you don't have to think about it anymore. You don't have to obsess about it anymore. Whenever I put some stories into my web series, as soon as it's in the web series, it's like out of my head. I don't even remember it happened. Like, I watch the web series and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I used to remember that, but it's the only cure, I think. It's like excising your demons through writing, and that's why the title is right. In the title, I mean, that's it. You sleep, you write. Well, it's horrible, though. You want it to go faster than it goes faster. You want it to be over. But it takes so long for anything to happen in this industry, whether it's getting over someone or getting your show on television. It's just the process. It takes so much longer than you ever think it's going to take. And then those people who make it fast will probably have years where they're not. You know, I just watched a special on PBS, Mary Tyler Moore, and she had a good 10 years where no one was casting her in anything after the Mary Tyler Moore show. And she got really depressed because of it. That's Mary Tyler Moore. She said she would have loved to do the show more years, but everyone else wanted to stop. And until she got Ordinary People, like, she didn't do anything for years. And that's just how it is, you know? So you have to just kind of find some sort of contentment, I think, in yourself and your own art, and keep putting out and keep self-publishing. And it's like, it would be nice if I was, you know, famous and people were buying my book, but like, you know, I sold like 70 copies, and that's better than some people would probably sell less than that. So, you know, you just gotta be, it's horrible and hard, I'm not gonna lie. It's a sucky thing. You wake up in the middle of the night cursing Lin-Manuel for being Hispanic, and the fact that you're not, and you're like, it's not fair. So what are you gonna do?
What was the thing that really helped turn the corner? You said, you know, all the doctors were saying it would take a year or
CBT.
two. Really?
CBT. hands
I keep
down.
thinking cock and ball torture.
Cock and ball torture. It's amazing.
That's what it
You
is.
are into an alternative.
You're a perv, Leon.
Cock and ball torture was amazing.
That's what it is.
It was I would say cognitive behavioral therapy, yes. I will say it out, just so you don't have to say cock and ball again. Yeah, 100%. It's the only thing that broke the cycle of obsession with the anxiety and the depression and the insomnia. It's the only thing that broke through it.
How would you sum it up in a sentence or two?
There's a whole chapter on it, but the main idea, how Heather put it to me once, or Despina, I don't remember which one. It worked out really nicely because I went to the CBT DBT place and it was $80 an hour to see their intern, but then the intern switched, so I got one who was focused on insomnia, and then the second one came in and focused on anxiety because she realized I didn't really have insomnia, I just had anxiety. So you're in the first sets of thoughts. First off, you're in a black room and you don't like the fact, I had to tell my mom this every time I see her, but you're in a black room and you don't like the fact that the room is black. So there's two things you can do. You can either paint the room or leave the room. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck in this black room complaining about the black room. So whenever you get caught in one of those circles, first you think, is there anything I can do to change this to make the room not be black? And if the answer is no, you have to say to yourself, well, I have to get off this ramp because otherwise I'm going to be stuck in this black room. That's the only other option. Otherwise you're stuck in the black room. And so it's about retraining your thoughts and letting go of things that you can't control. Like my mom forgot the horosis at Passover, and the whole night she was saying, I can't believe I forgot it. And I was like, are you going to go home and get it right now and drive for an hour and a half? And she's like, no. I said, well, there's nothing you can do about it. You might as well leave the black room. And my mom stayed in the black room. But you see where, the apple doesn't fall from far from the tree. But at least my tree, I've trimmed a little. My mom's crazy. That's where we all get it from. It's all from our moms.
It's all from your mom?
No, it's all from our
Oh,
moms.
our moms.
All of
That
our
makes more
problems are
sense.
from our parents. It's true. We've gotten so much crap from them. It takes years to exercise yourself from all of the crap your parents put on you. It's them. It's that. And my father's a very obsessive person too. So it's seeing what you're doing and then being like, gotta change the way I'm thinking about this.
You get a double whammy because you got their genes, which give you predisposition to think in this way, and then you got their training, which raised you this way.
Yeah, no, it's true. Nature and nurture. It's a double whammy. It's true.
You talked about journals and things, and you went by real fast. Did you mention Laura? Did I hear you mention? I think
My friend Rory.
Rory. Okay.
Rory's my best friend. She has 40 journals.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was. A publisher would have gone through the book and been like, you can't have these references to your friends and no one know who they are. And I was like, whatever, it's my book. I want to have them.
Because I thought you had said Roram. Ned Roram is, I don't know if you're familiar with it, he's a composer, and also he's written a large number of diaries.
Oh, well, good for
over the years,
him.
Which are very confessional, not entirely like yours. He was, I did a dissertation on some of his music, so
Oh, cool.
I read most of the diaries. In fact, I'm in one of them because I interviewed him for his dissertation.
Well, that's kind of meta.
Yeah,
Hmm.
whatever. And he's, that was one of the obsessions of his life, was to kind of write essentially a journal and then publish it. And he started that in the early 50s. And he's still alive. He's probably not going to be alive an awful lot longer. He's elderly and not in really good health. And he had insomnia all this time. He's claimed.
Well, some insomnia, I think, is more genetic or chemical. It was very clear that they did say, all of them, that if you haven't suffered from it your whole life, you're not going to be suffering from it your whole life. Everyone said to me, it's going to take you a couple years, but you'll be fine. That's what they would say.
But
it takes 2 years to get your sleep cycle back.
Yeah, when I interviewed him, I mentioned this one piece of his. I thought it reminded me a lot of somebody pressing the snooze button on an alarm clock. And I said, do you do that? He said, no, I have insomnia, I don't use alarm clocks. So,
Yeah, I imagine most creative people who have insomnia become very good and prolific journal writers because they figure, well, if I'm gonna be awake anyway, I might as well use the time productively.
Oh yeah, that's what I would do. Why not? I don't know. I don't know if everyone's insomnia. I'm just a night owl, so I don't go to bed till 4 every night, and that's just normal. So if I don't have to be up until noon or 1, there's no problem.
Yeah,
It's
but-
when I have to get up early that it fucks me.
but when you're talking with this woman from India for 10 hours and sleeping for 9 and presumably eating at some point, well, that leaves like about 4 hours left to work.
Well, I was only talking to her that obsessively for the first 2 months. Now we barely talk. Now we just chat a little, but we would chat while doing things. The hours with India work out so nicely because I would wake up around noon and then we would talk until she fell asleep and then I would go to the gym and then I would do whatever I was going to do and then she would be back on around 11 o'clock when I was chilling for the rest of the night anyway. So timing wise it would work out very nicely. But she is, I think she's actually dating someone now in India, so I think she's actually ready to move on with her life, so good for her. It's a very nice distraction while it lasted, though. We're still friends, though. You can be friends with someone, you know, if you were friends originally.
Sure.
Usually, it depends how awkward it gets. You can't really be friends with people if you started dating them within the first second of meeting them. Then you don't have any like history of friendship to fall back on. Maybe. I don't know. I like making
It grows over time. It
generalizations.
grows over time.
It's hard to
Yeah, but you don't really
generalize.
want to keep in touch with a person. At least I don't. I don't have any urge to keep in touch with people I've dated.
Depends how much you like each other and how you leave it.
You never really like a person when you're done with them. Otherwise, you wouldn't be breaking up. Unless you were just dating for a couple months. That's fine. If you're dating for years, though, forget about it. I mean, there's a reason you're not dating a person anymore.
I'd like to know if you had this experience, like while you were having trouble sleeping, you know, perhaps lying in bed trying to fall asleep, and then in your mind you start writing things in your head, but like you're too sleepy to write it down, or you don't write it down for whatever reason, because this happens to me a lot, and then I don't write it down, and it's some really creative material, like poems and songs and things
I always
like that.
write it down.
And then the next morning, I have no memory whatsoever for it.
Oh, well, you gotta write it down. I have a pad right by my bed. Today I woke up and that's the problem. I will write in my sleep. So if I have to write a song, like I had to write the new Love Quirks opening number, and I put it all in my head, and then I woke up, and then I woke up at like 11:30, and it was like, I'm writing it now, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not sleeping anymore. And then I spent 2 hours, and I wrote the whole thing. That's just how I am. I don't know how other people are. Like, I knew I wanted to write the smartphone chapter today because I was really mad at my friend Milwaukee for not putting her phone away last night. And I just found it so funny. I wasn't mad, I just find it amusing how people are addicted to their things. Like, I don't know, I haven't touched mine since we started. That's what she said. But, I don't know, I just write in my sleep and I wake up and it's all there. Or I'll sprawl notes in the middle of the night. When I was not sleeping though, I would just write and write and write and write.
I think he's right, you have to write it down, but,
You definitely can't remember it.
yeah.
It's like I already had my light off. and
There
I
was a
had to
meme on
sleep, but
Facebook about that today.
Then the next
But
morning I
if you get an
it's
idea that's
gone.
really
Yeah.
good and you want to save it, that's your only chance, is to turn the light back on and put it down. The thing is, you might discover, as I have in the morning, that that idea wasn't quite as good as it
That's
seemed.
very, very possible. I will
Possible.
dream things that I think are amazing and then I'll write them down and I'll be like, what?
Was,
Wow.
yeah.
You're always
But,
think you're
but
better
it
in
could
your
be good
dreams.
stuff too.
I did have a really great idea for a song that I decided not to write where I met Tina Fey in my dream and I was writing a song about how I really wanted to be on TV like her and then I was going to just put it on online and tweeted at a few people who I know knew her, and the whole song was to be so meta. And then I was like, you know what, this really isn't that funny. It seems so cool in my dream, though, what it's going to be all about. And I've read Amy Poehler's memoir, and I was going to list all these things I've read in different people's memoirs, because I got really into reading memoirs after I wrote my memoir. I'd have a whole shelf of them now. And no, I don't think it would have been that funny. I don't, so I never wrote it. I also don't feel the need to write songs anymore, because what's the point? Like, I was talking about this with one of my other friends, and we're like, now we're in your 30s, it's like we don't need to write songs. They're like little things, but the point is to write a musical. We want to write a larger piece that can be with us for the rest of our lives. So I'm done writing, I'm done. I don't write songs anymore because I've done that. I've about 200 of them, and I don't feel the need to write more. Unless they're in a musical.
What do you do at Don't Tell Mom?
I do showcases there every Tuesday that I MC. I do a number I MC, and I usually have 6 musical theater kids, usually right out of school. Sometimes I'll have older amateur types, and we'll do amateur evenings, but most of the time it's, the 20-year-olds coming out of school, sometimes people who are just back in town from a cruise and they just want to perform. And we get them video footage for their reel, which is really nice.
Do you film everything at Don't Tell Mama?
Yeah, we film all the shows, and then
Really?
and then I do the video editing myself too, because heaven forbid I pay someone to do something, so I'd rather do it myself.
I didn't know that.
And then I give people their video footage so that they have them for backstage when people are casting.
That's cool. I didn't know that. I actually sang a song once at Don't Tell Mama.
Well, I mean, that's not, the piano bar is separate. I do shows in the back room. I just pay there's a room fee, and I'm there pretty much every week. This week, Tuesday, will be number 379 that I've done in the last 8 years. But I've also done, as I said, 8 cabarets of my work, including 9. I've done 9 now. Jeez. If Adele Gustav and I was the 8th one of all original numbers, so they all have about 18 to 20 songs, so that's 150, 160 songs right there. But I was doing those one a year for a while until I decided that those weren't really getting me anywhere, and then I went back to writing musicals, and now I'm done writing musicals and focusing on my TV show. I also do charity concerts. We have one coming up on November 16th if you're free. It's a Monday night. It's called Broadway Can, and it's for City Harvest. It's a can raising drive. I have all my friends with Broadway credits come and sing my songs, and we raise money for the poor. We give all the money to City Harvest and all the cans, a week before Thanksgiving, so we donate to their Thanksgiving drive.
So do you attend by buying a ticket? Do you attend by bringing a ton of cans?
You bring cans, but then you also, there's a ticket price, and the money goes to City Harvest. But there's a 2-drink. It's $15 with the 2-drink minimum. The 2-drink is what pays for the club, and the 15 goes to City Harvest.
That sounds cool. It's November what?
November 16th.
Absolutely.
Yes, you should totes come. I don't have flyers yet because I don't have a cast yet, but I'm getting much closer to having a cast day by day. For a lot of people who haven't gotten back to me. Here's my new thing, is every Thursday I harass actors for all the showcases and all the concerts I'm doing, and then I don't harass them the other 6 days of the week. And it's made my other 6 days of the week much nicer. So every Thursday I wake up and I make myself spend an hour going through everything I have coming up and be like, who do I have to harass today? And collaborators too, collaborators and actors. And then, hopefully they'll get back to me before the next Thursday, but if they don't, then the next Thursday, then I text them or I Facebook message them until eventually I hear from everybody. But I love mine, I just came up with it. I love it, it's great. And the other 6 days of the week I don't. But Thursday's a good day for it because I do my shows on Tuesdays and I go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Thursday I have an extra hour.
It's a good plan.
It's my harassing actors day. And I run errands on Thursday. That's nice. It's a good day for that. Yes, but I've been doing shows there since 2002. I've been doing the showcases there since 2007.
Anyone else you have to harass today? There's still a few good hours left.
No, I did all my harassing first thing in the day to get over with. Actually, I wrote the chapter first. If I'm writing, I will write first thing And then I spent an hour harassing people. It's, it's just rude to not get back to people. Like, you should respond to me. And it takes sometimes 2 to 3 texts to be like, oh, sorry, I can't do your Broadway Can concert this year, but I'm very happy to say 2 people actually wrote back and were like, oh, yes, I can do it. So I got 2 more people. I think
Who'd you lock down so far?
I don't remember. I got a lot of referrals this time. I have the understudy of Jasmine on Aladdin. My friend Haley Swindle does cabarets, and she was in Jekyll and Hyde, the last revival. Who is doing the concert? I have the girls from Love Quirks in it, but we're recasting one of the guys, and the other guy can't do it. Who's doing the concert this year? It's not one anyone has heard of, but they all have Broadway credits, so it looks cool. Bosti, my friend Bosti's doing it. She was in Rocky and a bunch of things. My friend Stephanie Clemens, she was in If Then.
Let's get on.
She's great. Who else is doing it? It would be easier when I have a cast and put it on my website, which will happen next Thursday, because that's my last day of harassing people. And that's when I will say, okay, this is our cast, and we're done. So I will announce the cast next week.
Would you be emceeing it or having somebody else?
Yeah, I MC everything. Oh yeah, I play piano and I MC. I start the concert with a song, and then I ask everybody for can stories, like what your favorite can is, and then they bring them up. We do a little can pyramid. It's really fun. This is our 7th annual one. In July, we do one for the Humane Society called Broadway Meows. We've done 7 of those because they saved Smee's life in 2009, so it's my way of giving back. Did I list everything I did? I don't know. I think we might have actually covered everything. It's very rare we manage to cover everything because it's all over the place and then I forget things.
Mensans are always curious.
I almost joined Mensa. I just didn't want to pay the fee, so I haven't. My friend Dan was in Mensa. He said it was like, he went to a Mensa thing and it was everyone hooking up. He said that's all it was.
Really?
He went to like a convention.
Oh, the convention?
Yeah.
People gathering? Oh,
Like
yeah.
a convention in Texas or something.
Oh yeah, people always hook up with that. That's why I go.
That's what he said. He said I went and everyone was hooking up and it was great. And I was like, okay, maybe I should join Mensa, but then I don't want to go to Texas. So.
Well, they're not in tech. Next year's in San
San
Diego.
Diego.
Oh.
It's 4th of July weekend every year. And we have a regional gathering which we're going to have next year as well.
4th of July, I will actually be in Vienna next year.
Nice.
Yeah, I went on this great trip to Germany 2 summers ago now. That would have been 2014. With this company, Germany Close Up, they bring Jews over and they're like, we were sorry we killed all your family.
It's
And
actually
a free
great.
trip to
Germany is so apologetic.
Oh yeah, no,
Like
it's
the
a
whole,
free
the
trip.
whole Holocaust thing is so awful. But the Viennese, like in Austria, they have not gotten over it. They're like, they're still convinced the wrong side won.
Oh
But you know
wow.
Hitler was actually born in Vienna? He's not actually German.
I did not actually know that.
He's
But
Austrian.
no, I went on the trip and it was co-sponsored by Costume Without Borders, which is a company in Pittsburgh. So we got 10 days in Germany for free, and then I went to Paris. But so the woman who runs that thinks I'm like God's gift to the world. So she's bringing me to Poland. Although I thought it was going to be cheaper than it is, and she said she's going to try to make it cheaper for me, which is code for she's probably just going to pay for me, which is very nice. But we're going to go to Auschwitz, which is going to be so much fun. And then I'm going to visit a friend in Vienna to be like, I'm done with the Holocaust. I want to go party, go to the opera. That should be fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
And it's also great because it means I don't have to find July 4th plans. This year I ended up going to visit my friend in New Jersey. That's how desperate I was for plans. I was in New Jersey.
That's pretty impressive. You crossed the Great Seal.
I know. Most of my family's in New Jersey, but still. Ugh.
Cool.
Anything else, guys? We still have the space for 6 more minutes.
Thanks for...
Do you have any more songs?
You want another song?
Sure.
What you got?
You want funny or you want to cry?
How about both? We can put both of them in.
Alright, one more of each. Oh, this one's good. I'll start again with the sadder one. a torch song. That's like a definition of a torch song. You don't know me, but I think you like me. At least you should try me as the kind of girl. I could be wrong, but I think we get along quite good. I saw your red hair, couldn't help but stare, but I wouldn't dare to say a thing 'cause your friends were there. But I wish I had, 'cause now I feel bad, and I hate the regret that we could have met today at the Strand. You didn't see me, though I was behind you online. Your posture was so divine as you patiently waited. Now I hope you turn around and our true love might be found. But that was a fantasy I created. I was dismayed as you paid and regret as you left today at the Strand. You have a taste in books, and you have such good looks. I'd love to get my hooks into. Never mind, but I did find you attractive. Sorry for being inactive, but I did follow you to Union Square. Though I felt creepy, so I turned away there. But what if I followed you and you turned and saw my magic sand? Would we have hit it off and gone out for bubble tea and scones? We could have ended up friends or at least in my bed. But this is all in my head instead. Today at the Strand, I watched the thin speed. Now my nerves are weak. Upon deeper introspection, for this memory is a ghost, I decided to post and see if you'll be my Craigslist misconnection. That's a true story.
Well, thanks
She
for coming in
didn't,
and,
she didn't read your misconnection, did she?
No, I didn't actually post that one. I did post one, this girl at Bryant Park, when I saw the Bryant Park movie, and she actually did write me. But then I met her and it was like, there was nothing. There was nothing. Alright, well, I'm gonna give you guys my cards, just so you have them, if you'd like to visit my webpage.
Cool, thank you.
If anyone would like to buy my book or the CD of Love Perks, let me know. I have some. The Broadway Can concert is Monday, November 16th. There'll be information. Actually, I do have the date on the website already. I just don't have who's in it yet. I will be posting that on Thursday, my next Harass the Actors Day. Woo!
Yeah, is there information about the Broadway Can on your
Yeah,
website?
if you go to the news page, the actual cast will be up in a week, but it does say save the date for November 16th.
Cool, I'll be in town, seems reasonable.
Woohoo!
Where's it gonna be held?
Don't tell mama, it's right
Oh, of
there.
course. And how much are drinks?
It depends what you get.
That makes sense.
If you get the water or the juice, they're $5 to $6. If you get alcohol, it'll be closer to 10. The beers, I think, are 7.
That's
It's midtown prices.
But there's only, it'll only hold like, what, like 50 people?
So it holds 75.
Yeah.
We want to have 75, unless you bring 70 people with you.
I could do that.
Well, please,
It depends who's, you know, you're gonna have, you know, who's gonna be performing.
bring as many people as you like. It'll be a good show, that I can promise.
Alright,
Yeah, I have a girl from Mamma Mia, but I can't pronounce her name. I have 2 girls from Mamma Mia, actually. It's all Broadway people, people who've been on Broadway.
I think you and I have a lot of the same friends in common.
Really?
We have like 38 friends in common on Facebook.
Oh, were you stalking me?
Yes, I was just now.
Who do you know?
Everyone you know. I don't know.
Oh, well, obviously Anton, that's one.
Yeah, Anton doesn't really count. Nothing personal, I think. 26, Bettina Bilger, Stephanie Johnstone,
Stephanie Johnson's the pianist.
Jonathan Pollock. How do you know Jonathan? Actually, I think I know him from
Do I know Jonathan Pollock?
Yes, you do. Robert Saperstein, Tony Patron.
People just add me. I have 5,000 friends.
Okay, you know Jessica Scher.
Do I?
You do. She does, did she do the Gloria Estefan cover? I think it was her. She has her own show for Gloria Estefan.
Really?
Aaron Dye is also a member of Mensa. He's a composer. Dale Badway, of course. If you couldn't make it, you can call
Well, Dal Badway is a Broadway producer. Yeah, I know Dal Badway.
Let's see. Mariah McCarthy. Jody Rabinowitz. Oh, Porter.
I met Mariah McCarthy through Bob. Isn't she like a 19-year-old model?
Which one?
Mariah McCarthy?
I'm not sure. I don't think, I don't know.
I'm thinking
You
of
know
different
Porter,
Mariah
of course.
then.
Porter Brooks.
How do I know these people?
Porter, celebrity chef, Porter William Brooks. He's really into the whole.
I'm friends with him?
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
telling you, people just add me.
Well, I don't ever add anyone I've never met.
You're
John Pinkard.
grabbing a lot of people I don't even remember. John Pinkard is also a
Right,
producer.
I
Yeah,
know
I
a
mean, I know a lot
song's
of-
music that I've.
Oh my God, how do you know Letisa Cologne?
Well,
Oh well, anyway.
well, that concludes this month's third Thursday lecture series. We
Well,
hope you'll
open
attend
to-
next month's lecture.
you know, discussing
Do you
it,
know who it'll
I
be
don't,
at?
I don't know, you know, I don't have a
Yes.
lot of money to lay out,
He's
so.
an expert on gaming. He's into social board games,
Ooh, that's really fun.
and
You know,
I'm
I'm
going
just-
to contact him
you
again
know,
to make
you know,
sure
I
he's
wanna talk
confirmed.
to different people
And-
and see what the possibilities are.
And hopefully, if you know anybody who'd like to be a speaker
Yeah, how
for
much of-
December onward,
I would
please
have
let
to
me know.
lay out
Cool,
and
thank you,
see,
Anton.
know,
You're welcome.
and I'm-
Cool. Thanks, Zach.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Well, there are all kinds of things